So I got the 980 here, as you can see, and I was monkeying around with it. And this particular 980 is all closed up. Well, for the most part, most of the screws are in it. If you look in there, you don't see the speaker. You'll see that aluminum plate that's in there, because there's actually an amplifier inside of this one. And this one, I decided to take it out for a spin earlier this afternoon, give it a go. So it's got the amplifier in it, but also has one of these attached to it. So that's what is currently attached to it. So it has the Uniden wireless microphone, and I got some very good reports from this radio. And so, you know, one of those things. It doesn't seem to have any ill effect from the amplifier or the Uniden wireless Bluetooth, which I don't think this is really Bluetooth. I think it's something else. But whatever it is, it's obviously wireless, and it works just fine. Hello, 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 hello. That's on AM at the moment, and so just attached to a dummy load. And dead key, 15 watts. Hello, test, 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 test. Just testing. Maybe 40-50 watts. I haven't cut that resistor in the amplifier, so it's just a little bit of an oomph. And if we do something like sideband, which, by the way, you've probably heard the beeps. The beeps are obviously working. I don't know if the beep comes through the microphone. I don't really know if it does. I don't know if the beep comes through the microphone. I don't think it does. No, it only comes through the speaker. Yeah. I don't know if it was originally intended to come through the microphone. I don't think so. But anyway, I guess that's not big of a deal. I didn't really notice that until I just thought about it. But anyway, sideband power, again, unmodified. Hello, testing, 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 hello, testing, hello, testing, hello, testing. I don't know, 50, 60 watts. You don't need a whole lot. I mean, it works just fine. So, mic gain, RF gain, all those are basically, everything is basically the way it was before. So, of course, we have the talkback. Testing 1, 2, 3. You can actually hear a delay when you use a wireless mic, which is to be expected. It is a wireless microphone, so there is a delay. Everything works fine. Can't find anything going on, but this is definitely the ultimate, 980 setup, probably. So I've been actually quite happy with this. So 28, 5, golden. So, and this favors the top end, so it's probably more output power on the top end. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. No, actually not. I did tune it again, so I probably screwed it up. Hello, 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 hello. It definitely has some output, just not as much as it before. That's just tuning. So this will probably be a lot more. Hello, hello, oh yeah, hello, 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 hello. Yeah, it's like close to 80 watts or so there. And that's, of course, with the amplifier on. So if I do that, there's no more amplifier. Now it's just, I don't know, let's see, 100 watt scale, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 watts on sideband. It doesn't put out much. I've got this thing, sort of turned down, which is obviously a factor in things. It's not cranking, all kinds of crazy power. I get good reports. People tell me it actually sounds just fine, and that was, of course, with the Bluetooth microphone. Anyway, so this thing, I'll just crack it open and show my sort of half-assed bodge, if you will. We turn that microphone off. So only got 2 screws in it, and that's because I screwed it up. Because I'm mechanically challenged. So, well, before I open it up, let's talk about, because here it is, it's doing exactly what I was afraid it was going to do. Sometimes this thing will just kick right into bootloader, which is what this indication is. And the reason it's doing that is, I suspect, I haven't investigated it, is because I'm using the transmit line to determine whether or not we want to be in bootloader. So what you would do is put the regular microphone into the radio, because you can't use the wireless one. That ain't gonna work. You turn it off, and you would squeeze the microphone and turn it on, and that would be bootloader. So what'll probably happen now, if I do this enough times, I think it's that capacitor that's on the TX line, and it's going to get charged, and there we go. And finally we can get the radio to start up. And I know it has to do with that. There's no real hard pull up on that line, and I suspect that it's just not pulling up. It's not rising fast enough. So it's not rising fast enough, and then it sees, oh, well, the line is at a logic low, so I want bootloader, when in reality we don't want bootloader. Once it starts, it's fine. But the way to test that theory would be to remove the filtering from the TX line. That filtering on the TX line is obviously there on purpose, because we don't want any RF ingress into the radio. So, you know, I probably need to do a button on the front panel to do this. You know, maybe one whole key scan line, just basically look for, you know, look for a specific button on here, and that you would hold that button and turn it on instead of doing this, because I don't want to compromise the filtering, but I'll just change that in the bootloader code. That's really no big deal. But for right now, you actually have to squeeze the microphone, of course. Right now it's going to be obstinate and, you know, not run the application, but it's going to run the bootloader until we sit there and catch it before the cap charges and discharges and all that wonderful stuff. So it's a nuisance. You know, I need to resolve that. So, you know, I don't think a hard pull-up's really going to do it. I think it's just, you know, we got basically an RC filter going on there, and you know, with the inductor and the cap, and we're just going to have issues with that. So it's just, well, I'll just move the button. You have to hold one of the buttons in and turn it on. So the amplifier, which, you know, like I said, I went out for a joyride with this thing, and I didn't have an issue with it at all. No squealing, no high SWR, no SWR issues, no feedback, no distortion, no garbling, no warbling, nothing. Just works. And most importantly, no microcontroller crashes, which is what I was thinking would be the biggest issue. So anyways, that's currently how it's connected. These two leads go up to the microcontroller, which of course that's not very, I need a torch. I always need a torch. There we go, bright light, bright light. So there it is going up to there. There's 4 pins on that connector. So one of the other 4 pins that's on that connector is actually going to go to a mod that I'm going to do to this amplifier. And that's to prevent the sideband relay chatter issue. I just haven't done it yet, but that's what one of those pins is for. I have to implement it in code too. So what will happen with that pin is an additional 3rd wire will go over here to where this cap is, and that will just kick the TX relay. So it holds the relay closed while you know, PTT is down. So that's basically it. So that's the you know, we might as well call that the, you know, ultimate 980. I've been quite happy with it, even with the amplifier, and I'm not really a fan of amplifiers, but running this radio on 10 meters with a little extra punch, which, you know, When somebody can't hear you, you just okay, push the button, and you get that little extra punch. It actually works very well. I've been very happy with it. So, you know, I've got you know, one more set of test boards to do. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry, not one more set of test boards. This is the board that I actually got. I got these boards Friday. I didn't do a video on it. Long story short, I had a lot of other issues. I just couldn't do it. This is the one that was in it previously. And, you know, of course I had to strip the display off of it, but this was what was in it previously. And, you know, the difference between the newest one and the oldest one is, you know, additional hardware components are going to be evident here. And this is the this is some more additional power supply stuff in a serial interface. So those were part of the changes. Also, there's a control right there. If I get my big thumb out of the way, that RV1 right there will control the beep level. So you notice it had the beep. Well, and you notice the beep wasn't stupid. If you may not, I don't know if you could really tell, but the beep wasn't stupid loud. And the reason for that is because, well, I can control that beep level. So I can have the beep, which I would prefer to have, as opposed to having that really loud beep. Because I think my issue was the loudness of the beep, not that it was present. I just hated the loudness of it, because it sounded, you know, it was deafening. So anyway, guys, that's where I'm at with the 980. Pretty much the home stretch at this point. And this is my test radio. So there's going to be more test radios out there before long. So, you know, I'd stay tuned, because all I got to do now is get the final boards. But the ones that are like going to be in here, they're going to be field test boards. They do have some bodges, but they're going to be field test. They're perfectly okay, but they're not something that I would advocate you would give to a give to an end user. So I just have to work out, of course, the bootloader issues and the software application that would be used to update this. Because the software application that runs on this, or that runs to update this, is actually something I wrote in C# and specifically using .NET. So it'll be a Windows application. You just run it, plug a serial to USB converter into the back of this thing. It'll go out, search for the radio, find the radio, and then say, okay, update thyself, and move on. So that said, I've got to put together another board and send that off. So, you know, a couple more of them actually. So I might have a few more for testing. So if anybody wants to actually test, and I mean like really test it, because this is the whole point of me going and, you know, getting one of these microphones, was to make sure, okay, it still works with the original microphone, like that everything works. Because if it didn't work with this microphone, I'm sure we'd have some upset people. We don't want anybody upset. We just want the thing to work. And, you know, I'll probably pull this apart in a video, but I've actually been very, very happy with this microphone. I just can't believe how well this thing works. And it's just, you know, wow. So if we plug that in just to, you know, show, there's really somewhat poor conditions right now. So there really isn't a whole lot to be heard. I've heard people on, see, there it goes in the bootloader again. I have to deal with that. Oh, okay, here we go. Finally got it to start up. If you're not quick about it. Anyway, so I don't have the speaker plugged into it, but for the external microphone, and I'm not too sure how this is supposed to work, so I'm hoping that it still works the same way that it should work, is that this volume controls the speaker independently of the microphone. So if I go to like 38 lower sideband, and I don't hear anybody there, unfortunately, but now if I go over here to this microphone, and I turn this one on, and you know, that volume is down, and I turn up the volume on this one. So, you know, that's the receiver. Let's see if anybody's on the Super Bowl. That chance. Even the no, there's somebody there. It's just, but yeah, this is controlled independently. So, yeah, it's a completely different animal. So, but the squelch works. You know, the squelch obviously squelches it. So, yeah, it's a an interesting microphone, and I really like it. I don't think it's really good for a car, which even though I used it in my car, it's not really the best because of the speaker. However, and I guess I really didn't think about this until just now, and even though I just, you know, took a ride with this stupid thing, I wouldn't need an external speaker. I could just use this speaker. So that might actually be the sort of ultimate 980 setup. You know, change the front panel, put your little amp in there. You got your microphone with your speaker that's wireless. I could see that being a neat little package. That seems like a winner to me. So anyway, guys, tell me what you think, and you know, what else I should change, if anything, about this. Because so far I've actually been very happy with it. So thanks for watching. Catch you next time.